Hi, I'm Wayne Brown, and this is another video from Yet They Resist. In a little bit over a week from now, we will be exercising one of our most important civic duties as a United States citizen, and that is our right to vote. I encourage every person who is a U.S. citizen to go out and vote. Not only this year, which is a very important year that we vote, but every single year afterwards. But I also highly encourage African Americans and other minorities to go out and vote. I don't say this lightly, simply because over the years, over the last several hundred years as a matter of fact, minorities and women have been traditionally denied a right to vote in this country. Voting was primarily preserved for only white males. But throughout the years and throughout the decades, we have managed to fight back this era of tyranny against voting, giving voting rights to people of color and also to women. So I highly encourage that you exercise that right. You see, there was a time where they used a lot of tactics to keep black people like you and me and other minorities from voting. They used tactics such as poll taxes. They use literacy tests. They use economic intimidation by either threatening you by losing a job or burning down a business or some other tactic that they use that will cause harm to you. They use physical intimidation by the police and white citizen councils and by everyday people, everyday white people, I should say, who would basically be able to employ these things against other people. Today, they use different methods. They use different voter suppression methods, such as removing voting locations, limiting the number of voting locations in a precinct, or even having only one ballot drop box in a county. Can you believe that? Requiring extra documentation in order to vote. Putting up false voting ballot boxes, asking armed groups to show up at voting locations, which is a form of an intimidation tactics, and getting disinformation out there about where and when to vote. Speaking of poll taxes, just this year, Mike Bloomberg and the Florida Right Restoration Coalition raised $21 million to pay poll taxes for 32,000 convicted felons who paid their debt to society already and were eligible for restoration. But in order to register to vote, they had to pay court fines and fees. Now, I don't know about you, but I never had to pay any fees, court fines, or whatever, just to register to vote. That is a right, an American citizen right to vote. And the fact that these people maybe committed some crime and was convicted felons, they had already paid their debt to society and they were already eligible for restoration. So to add fees to these people in order for them to vote is absolutely ridiculous and very un-American. But it could be typical American because America has a lot of times tried to disenfranchise people of color, people who are convicted of crimes and who have a right for restoration, and other minorities. And women as well. So if you haven't voted, make sure that you go out and vote, whether it's by mail, whether it's in person, or whether or not it's a drop box. But if you go out in person, and if you feel comfortable enough to do that, make sure you abide by by social distancing and make sure that you wear a mask. And when you go in, make sure you go in and vote and get out, okay? And finally, what I want to say is that I want you to vote this time, but make sure that you vote every single time, even in your local, state, and federal elections. This is a way that you can exercise the power of your voice and the power that you have as American citizens to select your representatives and the people who are representing you on a local, state, and federal level, and to make sure that the laws that are passed are the laws that you want passed, and how we can continue to live the American dream the way it was intended to be lived. I love you once again. Thank you for your time, for listening, and make sure that if you haven't subscribed, And just click the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. And also click the link if you want to register your email to stay in contact. I'll see you again.